Okay, so I'm going to get this out of the way right up front. I don't like Lyft. Welcome back to the channel, everybody. So today I'm going to do a quick review of Edgedancer by Brandon Sanderson. So for those of you that are not aware of what Edgedancer is, it is a novella that Brandon Sanderson had the intentions of writing an 18,000 word novella that he turned into a 40,000 word novella. Is what it is. That's what he does. He's probably going to do the same thing with Dawn Shard. It'll probably end up being 100,000 words or something insane. So basically, we are introduced to Lift in Words of Radiance in one of the interlude chapters. So the interlude in Words of Radiance is the entire prologue to this book. So it's like 60 or so pages long in this because the font's pretty big in this one. But basically, it's a pretty short, quick read. It is sub 300 pages. The font is pretty large. The margins are pretty large as well. So it's really not that long of a story, even though it's 40,000 words. So this character you follow is a child, a young teenage girl who is a Radiant in the world of Roshar. So she has Stormlight powers, but she doesn't understand them. So, since this book is kind of told through her eyes, and in a weird way, almost narrated by her, and I'll explain that in a second, she doesn't quite understand what Stormlight is. So she calls it awesome. Yep. I don't know what Brandon Sanderson was thinking when he wrote this character into Roshar and the Stormlight Archive. Obviously, it's not even as grim or gruesome as Mistborn, but, and of course, it's not something on the scale of like an Abercrombie or something that's really, really dark. We're dealing with Brandon Sanderson, so there's going to be a bit of a smoothing of the edges, I guess, is a way to put it. But this character feels like she just belongs in a totally different story and world. So when you're introduced to her, she is immediately, as children do, just making really cringy, bad jokes, talking about how buildings look like boobs. Frequently throughout the book, she talks about how she really wants to try all the different pancakes, which there's 10 of them. And then she's traumatized to learn there's only 9. She, again, doesn't understand her powers, so she refers to it as becoming awesome. And her awesomeness is awesome. And if it already sounds like I am overusing the word awesome, it's because Brandon Sanderson overuses the word awesome. Now, when I say this character doesn't fit the Stormlight Archive, which is an adult fantasy story, that is because this character feels like it was plucked from a novella, totally unrelated, and then he just made it part of Stormlight. I don't understand why it's part of Stormlight. I don't really like this character at all. She is incredibly childish. She is annoying. She's not funny. The humor in this book is worse than Era 2 Wayne, which I know a lot of people love. I can't stand him. She's just... I don't want to read about a 13-year-old Radiant that talks about wanting pancakes and referring to herself as awesome. And what I said about it seems like this is told through her eyes. Obviously, it's you're following her. She's the POV character. That's fine. But there's parts of the book that it's almost like the narrator is writing it as if it was Lift writing it. And that is just so weird to me. So, like, there was one moment, I don't know the exact page, it was pretty early on, where she's describing, or, like, she says something, and then it wasn't even, like, an internal thought of hers, but it's as if the narrator was describing, like, a headdress, and was literally said, like, it's like a long scarf, and like Loooooong, like as if this child Lift was texting how long this scarf was. I just, the writing was baffling to me. I mean it's easy to follow. I mean, it's a very streamlined story. It's short. It's to the point. I don't really like this character. The book is paced fine. Just the thing is, if you don't like the main character, the story's not going to work for you. So I just don't like Lift. in general. She's not my cup of tea, not the kind of character I want to follow. For some reason, this is Brandon Sanderson's favorite character to write, so obviously we're going to get a lot more of her. I'm reading through Oathbringer right now. I haven't gotten to her yet. I do know that she's in Oathbringer, and I can only imagine that if this is his favorite character, she may or may not take over the Stormlight Archive as a main character, whether it be Rhythm of War or whatever book 5, 6, and beyond is. I'm anticipating getting force-fed a lot of Lift, so I'm hoping that she ages a little bit more and is more approachable of a character and not just this repetitive pancake-wanting, awesome, cringy character that she is in this book. Because if that happens, it's just going to totally pull me out of the story. I didn't really enjoy reading this book. I gave it 2 stars on Goodreads. I don't care about this character. I know some of you may love her and feel like she gets a lot of shit for no reason. All things aside, I just don't feel like this character belongs in the Stormlight Archive. When you have Kaladin with his tortured past and his truly emotional, impactful moments in Way of Kings and Words of Radiance, or you have Shallan, who's dynamic and a much funnier character, and her humor is a lot better. But she's got so many dimensions to her and personalities and her own tortured past that she gets into. And Dalinar, again, like, these characters are so strong. They're so well done. I mean, I've been talking to people in Discord where I find it hard to not put Dalinar, Kaladin, and Shallan in a top 10 fantasy characters that I've read. And then you have Lift. And Lift is just so subpar compared to anything else that I've read by Sanderson. If this was a YA book, and this was a YA series, or like a middle grade series, if I went into, whatever, Starsight, what's his YA series? If I went into that and found this character, I'd be like, okay, that makes sense. I don't like it, but of course, it's a YA series. Why is this character in Stormlight Archive? Somebody explain it to me, other than the fact that Brandon Sanderson loves Lift, because I do not. She is not awesome. I don't care about her pancakes, and I don't want to read about her anymore, but I know I'm going to, so yay. What else do we even say about this book? The action, I mean, it's fine. Sanderson writes action really well, but in this, again, it's like she made her face awesome, and like, this kid can't explain what her powers are. It's not like you're reading about Zeth when he's lashing to the ceiling and flipping around and killing people and lashing and cutting heads off. Like, this is Lift being awesome and using her awesome powers to be awesome, and she's so awesome. Isn't she awesome? So, that is my review of Edgedancer. Some of you may like it. Some of you may like Lift. I do not. And I'm not excited to read more about her. So, as always, if you do enjoy the content and the channel, please jump in Discord, continue the conversation with me, join the Patreon if you do want to support the channel. Always optional, but always appreciated. Like and subscribe. As always, I will be doing more Stormlight content coming soon. I am working my way through Oathbringer right now. I will have that finished before November, and then I am looking to get into Dawn Shard if that does actually come out and is in hand before Rhythm of War on the 17th. Otherwise, I will be doing some Rhythm of War chapter content since they're releasing chapters up to the release of the book. I am going to read those ahead of time, and I'll probably do some coverage on the channel for them. But this book, my brain just doesn't even work anymore. So, until next time, everybody, keep reading.